Today on I'm Too Busy, I sat down with Team USA track cyclist McKenna McKee. She was diagnosed at age 6 with type 1 diabetes, and she's gone on to become a 16-time national champion with her sights set on the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. We also spoke about the dark side of women's sports. McKenna McKee opens up about body shaming in elite cycling. You've got to listen to this interview. It's fantastic. Please like, subscribe, and comment. McKenna, I want to start at the beginning because your origin story is genuinely one of the coolest ones I've ever heard. You were literally on a bike before you could walk. So take me back. When did cycling stop being just something you did and start being something like, when did you know?
Yeah, so basically my parents rode on a tandem like when I was 2 years old, and this took me basically everywhere with them. They never were like professionals or raced a whole lot, but my dad started doing cyclocross, and then he took me to some local races when I was a kid, and it was called Kitty Cross, and I saw other kids like me doing it, and I was just like, this is exactly where I want to be, and I just felt one with the bike, and I just wanted to challenge myself and see where I could go. So I was about 7 at the time. So yeah, I never looked back since.
I love that. So for people who don't follow track cycling closely, and honestly, let's be real, most people think cycling means Tour de France. Can you paint a picture of what your world actually looks like?
Yeah, so track cycling is like a 250-meter track. It's a wooden track. There's multiple other tracks on in the world. Some are like 333 concrete, and but with the UCI and international competitions it's on a wooden indoor 250, and it's usually 45-degree banked walls, and you're on a bike that has no brakes and it's single gear. So you have to basically do math to make different combinations. And with track sprint cycling specifically, there's a lot of tactics that go into play. And so we do team sprint, which is with like three partners. And so it's almost like a relay, but P1 is the first person and they start in a gate. And it's a little hard to explain, but basically they get in a gate and everyone else lines up. So there's two people in like next to you, and then that person goes for one lap, and then it makes an exchange, and like they're basically done with the race, and then the next person goes around and then they exchange, and then the next person finishes it, kind of like an anchor to a relay. And then we have match sprinting, where basically you ride your bike as fast as you can over 3 laps, and basically the last 200 meters of that race seats you into what is called a qualifying event, that then you do match sprinting, and you basically, it's like cat and mouse chase, and it's kind of like basketball where the fastest person goes against the slowest person, or like, fastest team versus like the lower ranked team. And so you go in and like you basically race all the way around, and usually once it gets closer to the end, it's like the best top 2 or 3. So the best 2 or 3 races. So if you tie, you have to go to a third ride. And then with the Kieran, that's the last event we have. It's 6 laps total, and it actually has a motorcycle involved. And it's
Oh,
very,
wow.
yeah, it's very interesting and really fun because it's basically like 3 lap scratch race, but the motor gets you up to speed up to like 30 kilometers an hour, and then it pulls off the track. And so basically the person at the front is then in charge of the race, and it's kind of a free for all, and you draw for position. So it's kind of like you don't ever know what you're going to get. And it's kind of like chess, a lot, a lot of thinking and strategy. And it's just a lot of fun. And I think it's really complex to the point that it's hard to even like explain without having some sort of context behind all of it. But it's a lot of fun for sure.
How long do 6 laps take or 3 laps take?
Yeah, it depends on, what's going on, because you can have somebody in a race, especially in Kieran, where it can slow. So the motor can get you up to speed, but maybe the person at the front doesn't want it to be that fast, so they could slow down the race. But it usually, when we do like the team events, it's no less than 50 seconds. And that's for 3 laps. And probably the Kieran, I think, would be pretty similar, maybe a minute 30. And so, yeah, it's really quick super fast twitch,
Really
high,
fast.
yeah,
Wow.
high torque,
And
everything
how do
like.
you said there's no brakes on the bike? So how
Yeah,
does
so
one stop?
momentum basically. So since they're using like the banking and the turns and stuff, you
Uh-huh.
basically just it's not backpedaling, but you no longer apply pressure to the pedals, and it will. I mean, you can backpedal, but it takes a lot of energy to do that because your body's like, well, what the heck is happening? And so yeah,
Right.
usually you just use the track to go uphill, and like it will slow you down naturally. So yeah.
What does a real training day look like for an elite sprint cyclist?
Yeah, so we train in Los Angeles and Carson, California, and we train basically 6 days a week, every day, 8 to 5 almost. We go to the gym at least 2 to 3 times a week, and that's about 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours long, and then we have like a break in between, and then we train basically 4 to 5 hours at the velodrome, and we have kind of various things that we work on. Most of the stuff that we do is team sprint oriented, so there's usually like 4 or 5 of us that are in Los Angeles, all girls that work together for specific goals and like objectives in the team, and so we push each other every day to be better. And then there's opportunities when bigger events come into play as to like, can you work on like sprint or Kieran and stuff? So it gets a little more specialized, but yeah, that's basically how it is. So it's a lot of training, but it's a lot of fun.
You came very close to making the Olympic team last year. And I think for a lot of people watching from the outside, almost sounds like a total disappointment. But I want to hear what that moment actually felt like for you, not the headline version, but how you
Mhm.
really felt.
Yeah, thanks. I think, yeah, trying it out for the 2024 Olympics was honestly, like, well, we'll see what happens, but I'm glad I did it because I've learned so much about myself and really put myself in uncomfortable situations. And like, I kind of took a step back from the sprint scene, and I came originally from cyclocross, so I had some background in road and endurance, and so I just wanted to see if I could put my feet in the water still and what could come of it. And yeah, Gary Sutton had invited me out after 2023 Pan Am Games. I was an alternate at the games, so I only had like a week to prepare for like 6 months, 6 months to kind of create a long team. So I basically had a week to turn from a sprinter back to an endurance rider again, and it was a big
Wow.
challenge, but I was like, well, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna see what can happen. And I basically went to Colorado Springs right after getting back from Santiago, Chile, and trained with pretty much almost all the girls that went to the Olympics and won gold. So just seeing what they have accomplished and like the level that it took for them to reach their goals and doing that was like really humbling for me and just like an eye-opening experience to learn what other things was I missing at the time that I didn't quite have, and what does it take to become like, not only an Olympian but a gold medalist. And it kind of just really enforced the drive and determination to what is next and what is to come. So,
Let's talk about your body because you've been pretty open about this. And I think it matters. Sprint cyclists are incredibly powerful and you're muscular. You're built for doing what you do. When did you start noticing that the world had opinions about what a female athlete's body is supposed to look like?
I think, yeah, coming from the sport as an endurance athlete, especially, I think I started to hear it more than I felt it early on. It would just become more of like a reminder, and it still is today. Like I literally just got back from Germany, and somebody on the like we were on the podium and stuff, and somebody is like, "You're still like look like an endurance rider." I'm like, well, yeah, like, I mean, it's not, I am what I am, like you can't change
Right.
who you are. Like sometimes I just have to brush it off now, but I think, yeah, it's just kind of like, it is what it is. Like people are gonna judge you no matter what you look like. And then instead of using it as like, I don't know, something that is, I don't know, frustrating and belittling. It's like, it's liberating to know that, no matter what I look like and no matter what people say, like I am strong and I do belong. So, yeah.
And social media throws gas on all of that.
Hmm.
As a young woman who's been competing invisible online since you were a teenager, Has your relationship with that changed? And how do you protect yourself from it? Or do you just
Yeah.
ignore it, not put any energy into it?
No, I mean, I think it's really easy to say you ignore it, but it can still get to you and it can still be frustrating. And I think, yeah, I think it's just kind of been my platform to even just like, this is who I am and show other girls and women that it doesn't matter what you look like, no matter, yeah, no matter what they say, you can still be strong in your frame and just be comfortable in who you are and what you want to do, and don't let anybody tell you you can't do anything.
What do you wish someone had told you earlier about your body and what it's capable of?
Yeah, I think maybe just like, I don't know, it's hard because I was diagnosed really early on, so I felt like even when I was young, I was 6 years old, I was always pretty slim compared to everybody else.
Mhm.
And so I don't feel like I felt that way until I really became like an elite athlete where I was like, oh, maybe sometimes I don't feel like I fit in because, and it wouldn't be because I felt that way. It was because other people were telling me that it was
Right.
that way. And it's like, what do you do with that? And I think I wish I had somebody to say like it's gonna be okay, or like just don't listen to it, or I don't know, just little
A little
more,
more support,
yeah,
emotional support.
support, and
Yeah.
also like resources available, because also like in cycling in general, there's a big male population and we don't have enough female like staff and personnel that are kind of around it to protect female athletes and the mental side and constraints of everything we have to deal with all the time. So I think I wish I had more of that just growing up. I think now it's okay, but definitely along the way it has been hard.
So you mentioned being diagnosed, and you were diagnosed at age 6 with type 1 diabetes. What you've done is just remarkable. How has that affected you, and how do you handle that, dealing with that with your sport?
Yeah, thank you. I think being diagnosed so young really like forced me to really have to mature really early on, and I learned a lot about nutrition and just like the overall like health of my body and like how to fuel my body properly and just like make sure that I kind of micromanage everything, and when things are bad, like just take ownership of, oh, I didn't do this right today or that didn't go right today. How can I fix it? How can I make it better? And it really has like direct correlation into my sport. I feel like even if I have a bad day, I can pick up on some of the signs and be really honest with myself and be better at reflecting than maybe I would have been if I never had the opportunity that diabetes somehow gave me to like learn how to do that properly. So yeah, I think it's really just shaped who I am, not just as a diabetic, but as an athlete and an overall human being. So yeah.
I also think because you were so young when you were diagnosed and you really had to be in tune to your body and listen to it, don't you think it's kind of helped you in a way with nutrition and listening to your body more than, most people that were young that never even thought about those things?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And it makes a huge difference, I think, probably more than I even realized to this day, and something I definitely still want to continue to learn and grow from. So I would say, yeah.
Was there ever a moment, a race, a training session, a blood sugar reading at the worst possible time while you're managing your diabetes that was really testing you?
Yeah, there's been a few. I mean, especially I think the one that comes to mind was when I was really young. I was racing cyclocross, and I think I ended up going like the wrong way on the course or something.
Oh my
I was like
gosh.
just so out of it. And
Right.
I think fortunately my parents were there and they're like, she needs sugar, like having that support has always been good to like I don't know, just have it regardless. But yeah, there's been a few times, but now I'm just like, okay, I can't be that in that state of mind and having those problems because I can't be going on the track the wrong direction. I mean, like
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like you only go
Poor
one way on the
thing.
track. So yeah.
Your friend Mandy has been a huge mentor in your life. She's another elite female cyclist living with type 1 diabetes. What did it mean to have someone ahead of you on that path who looked like you were, and what were you were trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I think having other female athletes just in general, regardless of the sport, it really paves the path for what is possible and what you can achieve, and having a community of like-minded individuals that are all living with diabetes. Especially when I found Team Nova Nordis was really just like a really good step in the right direction in finding my identity, especially when I was diagnosed young and you're as a kid, you're trying to figure out who you are. And so yeah, it's a good thing for sure.
I wanted to ask you about mental resilience because the margin between athletes at your level is so small. When doubt creeps in, and I have to imagine it does, what does that look like for you and how do you work through it?
Yeah, I think doubt within is more like a personal, like external or yeah, internal thing within myself, not so much of like what's going on around me or the comparison. It's more so majority of the times I feel like I lose is because I lose to myself because I don't believe in what I'm doing right now. It's like, well, maybe I should be, you just start second guessing some things, and instead of just being like, you know what, people are going to say and believe what they're going to believe about you, and you can't do anything about that. And so it's just a matter of what can you do about it, and how can you be the best person and best athlete you can be. And yeah, just really sticking true to yourself, I think.
When you picture standing at the start line at the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics in front of a home crowd, what does that feel like in your body and when do you let yourself imagine it?
Yeah, I think pretty honestly, I think that's like the biggest goal. So I think, yeah, just practicing the visualization for that, even when I'm training, is like the biggest thing because it would really be a full circle moment. That was the first place I ever went to nationals as a junior, so it would just be really cool. And I just think I always think about like how many people have been on this journey with me, and it's really not so much about me and telling my story. It's about everybody that has been a part of the journey. And what do I want to accomplish is just to like prove to everybody that anything's possible if you put your mind to it, and nothing can stop you, not even diabetes, and it can actually be a tool to resilience and making the world a better place, and inspiring other people to never give up.
You're 21 years old and you've already been a national champion 16 times. You've traveled to 9 countries, competed on 6 continents. What's something about this life that still surprises you?
I think that the world is so much smaller than we realize. There's so many more connections that are actually closer than we realize. Like, I don't know, the world, like going so many places, there's so much we have in common. And oftentimes, half the time, we don't even really think to ask, just the simple questions to other people. And I think, yeah, just the basic humanity and human connection is so important. So it's just being a good person and like talking to people and hearing their stories. It goes a long way, even, yeah, outside of sport. So.
We talk a lot on this show about confidence and not the Instagram version, but like the real kind. What does confidence actually mean to you as someone who's had to fight for it?
Yeah, I think confidence is something that you basically have to shut every negativity and outside noise and even inside your brain noise out, and just like be so confident in who you are that no matter how crazy people think what you're chasing and doing is, that it's for you, and what is for you will not pass you, and you can achieve anything you want to achieve if you believe in yourself and you just apply everything that you've learned from the past into becoming a better person, becoming a better athlete, and yeah, inspiring people and just leaving a bigger legacy than what you came into the world with.
Who backs you financially? Does the Olympic team or
Mhm.
who pays for all of your training and
Right now we are there's 4 of us that are on the national team, and right now we are currently set up with the Olympic team, but also we have periods, so you go through world championships and world cups, and based on those results, defines basically everything else that happens financially. So if there's a slip there, they can easily, strip things away, which is unfortunate, but it's also the reality that us athletes face all the time. And I think it varies from sport to sport, but a weird reality is that it's pretty similar, like struggles that we all have across the board, regardless of sport and discipline. So,
What would you want another little girl that's listening right now to take away from this? Not from your medals, but from you about how you showed up for your sport.
Yeah, I think if you really enjoy doing what you're doing, and regardless of where you're at right now, I mean, it took me, I never won my first individual title until I was an elite. So I think just believing in the journey and the process of it, you can achieve anything, even if it feels like it takes you longer than it's taken other people, even if you go a weird direction to get to where you need to go. It's 100% worth it, and I don't think I regret anything that I've done. And I just hope other people feel the same in what they're doing, and in the end find what their true self is in their path.
Okay, we're going to go into some rapid fire, just whatever
Okay.
comes to mind. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Coffee or matcha?
Coffee.
Where is your happy place?
I would say the beach.
What do you do when your day isn't flowing?
Take a deep breath.
That's a good one. What are you never too busy for?
Family.
What was the last thing you Googled?
Probably UCI rankings.
How important is self-care and what are your favorite self-care tips?
I think it's super important. I like to journal.
Oh, that's good. What's playing in your headphones right before a race?
A variety of things, but I will say,
Do you have
I don't
one
know.
song that like you
No, I'm
play
trying to think
before
now.
that like just gets you fired up?
Yeah, Return of the Mac, because my nickname is Mac, basically. So
Right.
Return of the Mac. I always play it, even if I'm gonna race the next day, I'll put it on. So yeah.
Dream Olympic City and you can't say LA.
I would say Hong Kong. Hong Kong was cool. Yeah.
Neat. Okay. What is one word that describes you best?
I would say funny. I would hope. I don't know.
Who's your biggest motivation?
Um, Honestly, I would say my personal coach that I've been with since I was like 8 years old.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, he's been a big, he saw every ounce of, any sort of, yeah, any sort of win in this everything right off the bat. He just knew I was gonna be something special even before I knew what I was capable of doing. So I would say him, Kirk Whiteman.
Love it. What's your favorite way to actually recover? And not what you're supposed to say, but what you actually do.
Yeah, I would say I like swimming, like just chill. Like not
Mhm.
like I'm doing laps. I'm like
Right,
chill,
right, right.
like
Just
with
floating
friends.
in the
Or
pool.
yeah, or yoga or something like that. Yeah.
What's a go-to snack when you need quick energy?
I'm gonna laugh, but it's probably applesauce. Like if my blood sugar is low, I need something quick. I'm like easy.
Yeah, it's
Easy.
easy to digest, easy
Yeah.
to swallow. It's easy.
Yeah.
Cardio or strength?
Because I'm an enduro at heart still, I would probably say cardio, but right now, with what I need to do, I would act
Hmm.
strength. So a little bit of both, but I can't pick both, so we'll just
Right.
go with strength.
We'll go with that one. Okay. What's your favorite cheat meal?
Probably pizza.
Oh, what kind?
Uh, any kind, really,
Okay.
except for cheese.
Except for no pizza, no cheese on your pizza.
No, like no cheese pizza. It has to be like
It has to have some
pepperoni. Yeah, it has
pepperoni
to
or
have something
sausage.
on it. Yeah,
Okay, got it.
yeah, yeah.
Early mornings or late nights?
Early mornings, I basically turn off at like 9.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can only imagine you must be so exhausted at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Most inspiring female athlete, living or not?
Oh, man. What is her name? I'm blanking. Kate. She's a swimmer. She's a swimmer. Katie, blanking on her last name currently. You know who I'm talking about?
I don't, but I'm going to
Okay.
just
Okay. Sorry.
Katie the swimmer. She's your, okay.
Yeah.
One beauty or skincare product that you swear by?
Mm, I don't even know brands. I'm like so bad at this. But I feel like what's the one I have right now? I'm gonna have to pass on that real quick.
Oh, you can pass on that.
Okay.
Heels or sneakers?
Sneakers. I don't even
Best
think I can walk in here.
best place you've ever traveled to compete? And I know you mentioned Hong Kong, but is there anywhere
I would
else?
say Australia.
And what
Yeah.
did you love about it?
Well, I went when I was 16, so it was just like, I don't know if it was because I was young and everything looked so vibrant, or if it was just actually vibrant and the vibes were good and I knew the people that I was there with competing, so it was really fun.
That sounds very special. Gold medalist mindset. Finish this sentence. Every single day I show up because
Because I want to win.
the end, right?
Yeah.
No other reason. What have I not asked you that you'd like to share today?
I don't know. You've got some good stuff on me, though, I will say. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Is there anything that's on your mind that you want to share?
I don't know. I feel like I'm okay. We're good.
Okay. Well, McKenna, this was everything I hoped it would be. And I thank you for being so open, so real. And this is the kind of conversation why I started this podcast. I want to thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck. And I hope you make the team and you get a gold medal. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Christina. Glad to be on.
Thank you. I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy, and I'll see you next week. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the link below.